The good, the bad, and the ugly. Permabans suck. Roll it. Welcome back, friends, foes, and window lickers. It's time we talk about banning again. If you're new here, look at my past video to ban or not to ban. And yes, there have been more than that, but I removed them in the interest of obtaining a successful repeal of a ban I myself once received. And believe me, there were many. I'm not going to get too political, but I do want to point out recent statements by Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk on why no one should be permanently banned on Twitter. This isn't going to be about Twitter or politics. This is about where I live, and that's Neverwinter. Over the years, we've seen many bans for many behaviors, and because of those bans, Neverwinter and Cryptic have shot themselves in their own foot and reduced our gaming population to extremely low numbers for an MMO. People banned for exploiting bug content, people banned for activities they've done outside of the game, and people banned for expressing religious views in Protector's Enclave, or censored speech. And lots of players have been banned for just being in groups who were exploiting while they had no clue it was even happening. We can debate where the lines are for censoring speech, and maybe one day we will. But for now, I'm mostly of the mind we need better and more enhanced tools for managing the speech we consume, not Lord Neverember deciding what speech is acceptable for us. But that's for another day. In the context of this video, I want to focus on 2 points. Point number 1. When you deplatform people, you push them into other platforms where they can find like-minded people, maybe even much darker-minded people. No, Cryptic the company doesn't care about the societal impact of deplatforming because it's a business and they care about making money. But if every business takes that approach, let's stop and think for a second where we are leading these lost souls. So business-wise, the company has to decide how much they want to spend on rehabilitation versus punishment. Most Western societies focus on rehabilitation over punishment because we've collectively decided that education and successful reintegration is worth the cost to society, in contrast to most businesses where blunt tools of punishment reign supreme. But we will circle back to that shortly. Point number 2. Neverwinter Online was launched in June of 2013. That means we are quickly approaching our 9-year anniversary. What were you doing 9 years ago? I won't go into it, but I'm certainly not the man I was 9 years ago. I'm far from perfect, but I'm much more mature, calm, and hopefully a little smarter than I was 9 years ago. Calm part can be debated because, sometimes I'm not that calm, but you know what I mean. For example, think how much a human evolves going from the age of 18 to 27. That's a 9-year span. Many of my friends have created families while playing Neverwinter, but why does this even matter? I'll tell you why. There are people who were kids who got banned for acting stupid 9 years ago, or 7 years ago, or 6 years ago, who are now mature adults who still cannot play the game. That's just a really, really long time to be banned. Yes, I know the game will not be around for 40 years, but could you imagine you could be banned from a game that your grandkids could actually play? These kinds of things should and need to be considered when we talk about permabans. To make my point more clear, I don't think permabans are a good idea for society. They are very blunt tools to deal with social issues that are complex, like cheating and hate speech. I know some people would debate if these are complex issues, but they are. We often debate if stealing is ever justified. Many people advocate for stealing in the real world if they feel a system is unjust. How do you think people who cheat in a game justify their actions? If they aren't a psychopath, they normally attribute it to trying to make a perceived unjust system a little bit more fair for them personally. The same goes with hate speech. People in the real world constantly debate on what is hate speech and who gets to decide. I don't want to get political, so I won't give examples, but you guys can feel free to express some examples in the comments of this video if you feel like it. What I'm advocating for is getting rid of permabans. Permabans are blunt tools and they are lazy. You can ban somebody for a certain period of time if necessary, but there should be an end date. These huge ban waves and mindless bans that have been applied in the past is what killed most of the community's trust and very loyal fanatic Neverwinter player base. I mean, all you have to do to see the state of Neverwinter's player base today is look at your friends list. Compare what it was to what it is now. Granted, not all those friends offline were banned, but I bet you there were quite a few in there. I personally used to have over 500 people online at any given time on my friends list. Now, I'm lucky to see 30. Sure, bans are not the only reason those players and old friends are now faraway memories and the ghosts of Neverwinter's past, but it is an indicator of how low the player base is, and one of those reasons is definitely permabans. Rehabilitation. Now, in a fairy tale ideal world, I would love to see systems incorporated into games so we can have actual rehabilitation, a way for a player who was banned to redeem himself and be able to play again. but what would rehabilitation in an actual video game look like? Well, it could be a private server where a player can basically be thrown into and can't communicate with anyone until they complete a mission, similar to something like the Foundry quests or something, where they can learn to comply with the terms of service. I know it sounds complicated, but trust me, it's not. Heck, it could be as easy as a SurveyMonkey type test that you can complete to prove you understand the terms of service. Is someone being a bit racist in chat? Don't ban them, mute them, or just make them complete some training on racial bias or something. Is someone being sexist? Make them learn about sexism. I don't know all the answers, but as a society, we have a choice. Do we push all the sexist people into a corner so they can objectify women amongst themselves without penalty, or we take opportunities to re-educate them and hopefully do a little something for the broader society while we're at it? Punishment. If punishment is necessary because they did something crazy, we could have a solo instance setup, where a person would be totally alone and must earn their freedom to rejoin the Neverwinter society. Just imagine if we made someone recover 1,000 fish from the sea of moving ice. This is my literal interpretation of hell. Or maybe make them collect 1,000 black ice from Icewind Dale. Or just put people on a timeout for a set amount of time. Point being, whether you advocate for rehabilitation or punishment, or a combination of the two, permabans are not the answer. Let us agree that it's harmful to the world and Neverwinter to ostracize people if it's going to send them into the open arms of the scary places of the internet, and we should all look to incorporate more rehabilitation models for how we treat people who behave poorly. What I'm actually saying isn't very complicated at all. If you're going to punish someone in-game, offer them a road to redemption. Even with kids nowadays, they discourage punishment and instead want parents to reason with their kids who clearly needed an ass whooping. So if I was Cryptic, I would unban all the permaban players and implement a new system that helps players earn their way back to the game if they broke any rules. I'm sure all those permaban players would think twice about breaking the rules after the unban, and even if only a quarter of them come back due to being unbanned, that's a win for Neverwinter. And I also want my viewers to know, just in case you're not aware, that you are subject to being banned for no reason at all, at any time. They don't need a reason. Your account is at Cryptic's mercy. Just because they don't go around banning people for no reason doesn't mean they can't. They absolutely can. It's literally written in the TOS. But most of you probably already know this. And if not, well, you just learned something. So let me know in the comments below if you agree with what I just said. Should permabans still be a thing, or should it be gone? Personally, I think permabans don't belong in this game. There should be always a road to redemption, some sort of way you can work your way back in. And also be great for the community. Suddenly, we'd have a lot of people back in the game. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with me that permabans should not be a thing? Do you agree that everybody should be unbanned that was banned before and give them a second chance? Should there be a way to redeem yourself and earn your way back into a game? For me, one of the main reasons that the Neverwinter community and population has gone down over the years was because of huge band waves. You know what I'm talking about. Barovia and some other things. Anyways, let me know. Now, I gotta go because there's shitty weather today and I have errands to run. Galactic here. Peace out. Stay safe.